So I want to tell you why I make videos like pointing out that Baldur's Gate 3 does have DLC and was broken on release despite how good a game it is. It's because there's a little nugget of wisdom that I was taught when I was working in the game industry as a journalist and as a game developer. And that is, gamers don't know what they want. Everyone in the industry is encouraged to not listen to gamers because they knee-jerk emotionally react to things instead of thinking things through. The quote I was told was, if you make a game that gamers want, it will never sell. And I, who got into the industry because I loved games, kind of hate that. Because I don't like there being an antagonistic relationship between game developers and the people who play their games. So when I make my gaming videos, I'm trying to show people that your initial emotional reaction to something is probably wrong. It's the easiest one to have, it's the bandwagon response, it's the one that feels the best to have. But upon further consideration, the argument is more nuanced. Now, most people on the internet don't want a nuanced argument, they want to just complain. But time and again, when gamers put forth arguments, nuanced arguments for things that should be changed in their favorite game franchises, those changes do tend to happen. So again, the first video in this conversation said that all aesthetics that you have to pay for in modern games are bullshit. The very act of making more money off of an aesthetic purchase is exploitative. That was not me, that was the first video I was responding to. Now, everyone's saying Baldur's Gate 3 is amazing, and everyone's saying that the aesthetics that you pay for in Baldur's Gate 3 are acceptable. So now it's time to stop and think, why are these acceptable? The original video said that it is not okay if a game is broken at launch and needs a day one patch. But Baldur's Gate 3 had a day one patch, so we have to ask ourselves, why was this acceptable? The original video said that if a game is broken on release, it's unacceptable, but Baldur's Gate is broken for Mac and people still love it. So again, we have to ask ourselves, why is it acceptable in this case? Because it's clearly not DLC or day one patches or aesthetics or being broken on release that people care about. It's something about those aesthetics, DLC, being broken on release, so on and so forth. And if we can narrow down our conversation to that, then game developers are going to be more receptive to our complaints. Because they're not listening to the ranty videos about how all games these days suck because they're all selfish cash grab. And it's specifically because we can go on a hate rant about it and then praise a game that does the same thing. From an industry perspective, it's doing the same thing. Now again, most people just want to be angry. That's why they get upset when I make videos like this. That anger gives you a burst of feel-good chemicals. I get it. You like being angry, and you like being angry with people around you about the same thing. That's just psychology. But nuance is where progress is made. And while the internet is largely allergic to nuance, I'm going to still try to introduce that nuance to conversations whenever I can.